Okay, in example 3, this time I have a cosine squared and a cosine. So just like when you had x squared and x, you need to set it equal to 0 so you can factor. We're going to do the same thing. So let's move this cosine of x over to the other side. So it'll be equal to 0. So we have 2 cosine squared of x minus cosine of x equals 0. Then on the left side, they both have a cosine in common, so I'm going to common factor that out. So take out a cosine. That leaves me with 2 cosine of x minus 1 equals 0. Just like before, when you have two things being multiplied equal to 0, set them each individually equal to 0 and solve. So cosine of x equals 0 and 2 cosine of x minus 1 equals 0. Well, the left one's already solved, but the right one I need to get cosine by itself, so I'm going to add the 1. So 2 cosine of x equals 1. Divide by 2, so cosine of x equals 1 over 2. Alright, so now to solve. First, the one on the left. Cosine of x is 0. Well, anytime that cosine of x is 0, 1, or negative 1, we're talking about a quadrantal angle. So if you think about your unit circle here, you're looking for where x is 0. Well, that occurs down here at 3 pi over 2 and up here at pi over 2 as well. So we know that x is going to be equal to pi over 2 plus. Now, instead of doing the 2 pi in, what happens if I add a pi? Just like on the previous example, I'll end up at the next one. So I'm just going to put plus pi in. And then for this problem, I'm going to go ahead and put where n is an integer. You need to do that on each problem. Okay, so then cosine of x equals 1/2. Well, cosine is positive, so we know we're going to be in quadrants 1 and 4. So go find your quadrant 1 angle, go find your quadrant 4 angle. And then remember, because we're not restricted in the problem, which you'll see it coming up, then that means that you're going to put your plus 2 pi in. 1 and 4 are not across from each other. We can only put the plus pi in when they're pi degrees, or pi radians, excuse me, from each other. So they have to be straight across. So in quadrant 1, we see that it is pi over 3. And put your plus 2 pi in. And then in quadrant 4, it is 5 pi over 3, and put your plus 2 pi in.